More individuals than ever before have access to a variety of high-quality games that can be played anytime, anywhere thanks to the widespread use of smartphones and tablets. The global mobile gaming business is currently estimated to be worth over $100 billion, opening up new markets for game producers. Crazy, isn't it? My jaw just dropped. Welcome to the Geeky Sama, where we take you through all the arena has to offer. Subscribe and get ready to dive in. Mobile gaming has grown rapidly over the past 10 years, making it one of the fastest-growing segments of the video game business. As more established game publishers and developers have turned their attention to mobile platforms, the growth of mobile gaming has also had a substantial impact on the gaming industry as a whole. New genres and gameplay mechanics made especially for mobile devices have also emerged as a result of the popularity of mobile games, providing new opportunities for smaller creators to succeed and receive attention. Still waiting on all the fancy attachments.
Okay.
It is obvious that the mobile gaming market will keep expanding and continue to play a significant part in the video game business for years to come. We can anticipate seeing even more inventive and captivating mobile games that push the limits of what is possible on these platforms as mobile devices become ever more sophisticated and pervasive. Mobile gaming is one of the main causes of this enormous rise. The global market for mobile gaming is anticipated to reach a revised size of $139.5 billion by 2026, rising at a CAGR of 12.3%, up from an expected $94.8 billion in 2022, all the way up from $52.7 billion in 2018. When compared to other markets like PCs or even consoles, mobile games have made up the largest percentage of sales even in the last few years. But it raises the question of why the market for mobile gaming is so large and growing so quickly. It growing quicker than the US Treasury. The most obvious explanation would be that everyone uses mobile devices because they are a necessary part of everyday life, but that would only be the tip of the iceberg. Tetris was the first game ever launched for a mobile phone for the Hagen Akemdi 2000. But it wasn't until 1997, when Snake for the Nokia 6610 was released, that mobile gaming truly started to take off. It continues to receive a lot of praise as a game. Games also advanced along with technology. A technical standard called Wireless Application Protocol (WAP) was created to make it possible for mobile devices to connect to the internet. Simple multiplayer board games like Tic-Tac-Toe or Connect 4 were viable and enjoyable even though players didn't actually benefit from them when they browsed the internet or played complicated games. One of the games that became popular in the 2000s was Alien Fish Trade. It was simple to join since you could breed alien fish. But you could trade and sell fish using WAP technology to other players or, in the worst-case scenario, the in-game restaurants. But in 2001, mobile gaming had a watershed moment when the hugely well-liked arcade game Space Invaders was made available for handheld devices. Despite being in monochrome, the enjoyment persisted. Within 2 years, color mobile phones started to proliferate. As technology advanced, major publishers like EA began to make investments in mobile games. Gameloft's Asphalt GT was one of the most popular releases of 2004. In that year, more racing games were created, making it one of the most popular game genres for mobile devices. When Apple introduced its touchscreen iPhone in 2007, the mobile gaming industry saw its next major upheaval. Initially, I was feeling the screens. With the introduction of its App Store in 2008, developers now have a place to offer their games to clients without having to pay cell operators or publishers a commission. Beyond just games, the iPhone and App Store forced the majority of other smartphone makers to give up on their own initiatives to create a more complex smartphone ecosystem, including BlackBerry and Symbian. Although BlackBerry tried to launch its own App Store, it was not as successful as Apple's. The Android-based handsets, utilizing the operating system that had been developed by Google, and Windows Phone by Microsoft were the only two significant rivals left following the release of the iPhone. Both adopted Apple's strategy and launched tab shops on Google Play and the Windows Phone Store, respectively. Microsoft eventually stopped actively developing Windows Phone, leaving iOS and Android as the top competitors in the market for mobile operating systems and app stores. Cartoon birds must be launched at buildings inhabited by pigs who have stolen their eggs in the physics-based game Angry Birds, which Rovio Entertainment debuted on the App Store in December 2009. When Rovio moved the game to Android, they launched a free version with adverts, though players could pay to remove those. The game was inexpensive, addictive, and a lot of fun. They so monetized their game in various ways. Games like Farmville became more popular with the emergence of social networks like Facebook. By February 2010, there were more than 80 million active users. Next, Candy Crush Saga was made available by King in October 2012. Both games still allowed players to ask their friends for more lives via Facebook, but only the latter allowed in-game purchases of additional lives and power-ups. By the end of 2013, King had added over 400 million new players to the game, and its ad and in-app purchase revenue had increased from $62 million in 2011 to $1.88 billion. Clash of Clans was the next category of game that saw significant growth in popularity. In-app purchases comparable to those in Candy Crush Saga were still available, but it also greatly emphasized social interaction like most do. By September 2014, the app was making $5.15 million every day. Several players claimed to have played the game for thousands of hours since it first came out, which they attributed to the game's multiplayer features. At this time, casual video games like Flappy Bird and Crossy Road were also very popular. Yet in 2016, a fresh innovation called augmented reality altered gaming even more. Games like Temple Run and Subway Surfers incorporated the basics of technology to give their games an extra dimension. Then Niantic released Ingress, a science fiction game that makes use of the GPS on a mobile device to find and interact with portals that are close to the player's actual location. Public art such as statues and monuments, distinctive architecture, outdoor murals, historic buildings, local community centers, and other examples of human achievement frequently take the form of entrances. Nevertheless, as Niantic built on what Ingress had taught them, Pokémon Go was where augmented reality and its geolocation notion really hit gold. It's difficult to express the explosive popularity that Pokémon Go attained. All of a sudden, you could see everyone around you frantically swiping on their phone to capture a Lapras or Dracini that was only visible on their screen. I want MCUTY pies. It's likely that you were too preoccupied attempting to catch them all yourself to pay attention to what other individuals were doing, unless of course they were trying to take over your virtual gym. Around 100 million people played Pokémon Go within a month of its first iOS and Android launches, setting a record for player counts. Cross-platform play has emerged as a key buzzword for mobile games in recent years. When Fortnite first debuted, it was only available on consoles and the computer. However, it quickly expanded to other platforms, including mobile ones. This led to the discovery that many of their players were actually young children using smartphones. Several people loved Genshin Impact and other similar games. Last but not least, as the pandemic spread, multiplayer mobile games like Among Us saw a sharp rise in player numbers as a populace that had been shut up turned to gaming as a method to communicate with friends and socialize. No matter their age or status, practically everyone owns a smartphone. Like, have you seen the old man with 60 off phones? He is richer than I am. Regardless of where they are, anyone can search and download games, including your granddad and your 5-year-old sister, and start playing right away. In 2021, gamers downloaded 82.98 billion mobile games, and 64% of those who play mobile games do it every day, according to a Panny. The app categories reporting the greatest session lengths per user in 2020 were gaming apps. Compared to setting up a PC or console and their accessories, mobile games are very accessible, much easier to download, and, best of all, you can play them whenever and anywhere you want. While you wait for a taxi or your food order, you can download your favorite game from app shops and play it. However, with the introduction of Apple's App Store in 2008, mobile gaming gained popularity as a result of games being centralized in a single location. In 2008, the majority of mobile games were purchased in a single transaction, similar to how consoles worked. Nevertheless, this had two significant drawbacks. The games were inevitably smaller in scope than their console equivalents since they were designed for the phone, and the market for mobile gaming was still quite small. Ultimately, developers and publishers decided to bombard everyone with advertisements rather than just those who were prepared to pay money on games. Initial worries about in-app advertising were that it might negatively affect apps and, if used excessively, ruin the gaming experience. Creative ad formats, like those that give in-game stuff for watching or playable advertising, were, however, well welcomed. Everyone gains in this scenario because gamers who interact with rewarded adverts are up to 6 times more likely to ultimately choose an IAP, which is advantageous for game creators. Because players who see rewarded videos are 23% more likely to purchase the advertised goods. In-app advertisements are also quite effective for marketers. And as for the players themselves, 73% of them indicated that they are content with the use of advertisements to monetize mobile games. Actually, compared to consumers of other gaming genres, hyper-casual users watch 2 times more video advertisements on average. The games just keep getting wild and profitable. Thank you for watching. Follow for more.